Gruesome Magazine.
Hello, once again. I'm your host, Doc Rotten, and this is Gruesome Magazine, where we review the very latest in streaming and video on-demand horror movies. Each week, my co-hosts, Jeff Mohr, Crystal Cleveland, Dave Dreher, Christopher G. Mohr, and myself will take a look at various spooky, scary, and gory genre offerings. Tonight, we are heading back to Shudder to review FLUX GOURMET. Christopher, this one's for you, bud. Food analogies. All right, joining me tonight is my co-host. You're gonna throw that back at me here in a little bit. Is Jeff Mohr. Jeff, how you doing, sir?
Yeah. I'm in flux. I wish I'd have had what's on the poster to eat while I was watching this, then I would have had some.
But what's in it? All right. Also joining us this week is award-winning filmmaker Christopher G. Mohr. How you doing, sir?
I think I've got a bad case of cinematic acid reflux after watching this film. So,
I was waiting for one of us to do that.
Maybe that's where the flux and gourmet comes from.
It is.
All right.
They got over-the-counter stuff for that.
They do, but be careful.
Not for this movie. Not for this movie.
All right. So, Barry Lead, sir. What we're going to do is we're going to review FLUX GOURMET. We're going to start off giving you our first impressions. Those first impressions will be spoiler-free. And then we're going to dive into the film and give it discussion and spoil something. And then we're going to wrap things up with our final thoughts, our score 1 to 5, and our favorite scene. All right, let's take a look. Oh, well, I do have some spiel first. Thank you.
Yes.
We hope you enjoy not only this review, but many others that we have on the site. And if you do, please hit the like, the subscribe, and share with a friend. We would greatly appreciate it. And it would help us get to our goal of 5,000 subscribers on YouTube. Thank you very much. Every little bit helps. And of course, when you watch this, it's on Shudder and it's available to you. When you watch it, let us know in the comments down below what you think. Let's take a look at the card. Boom! FLUX GOURMET, available streaming on Shudder beginning September 15th, 2022. Written and directed by Peter Strickland. The cast includes Butterfield, Gwendoline Christie, Ariane Lebed, Fatma Mohammed, Micah's Papademetrio, Leo Bill, Richard Bremer. Synopsis is set in an institute devoted to culinary and alimentary performances. A collective finds themselves embroiled in power struggles, artistic vendettas, and gastrointestinal disorders. And when that's the most entertaining thing, you know you're in trouble. All right, let's give our first impressions. And I'm going to do this because I have that in me. But Christopher G. Mohr, I want to know your first impression of FLUX GOURMET.
This is the one case where someone made an art house film that's more of a fart house film.
The fart house film.
It's
literally, because that's what
it's a plate filled with elements of Wes Anderson and David Lynch, drenched in a gravy of boring pretentiousness. It's this movie. I don't understand why it was made. And I'm not sure what the audience is this was made for. And it's got some talented actors in it. It's got, Gwendoline Christie. I mean, it's got Asia Butterfield. I mean, and it's shot competently, but the story is not I mean, like, how poetic can you make? I mean, this is literally a movie that's shitty in content and quality. And there's not much good I can say about it. I mean, it's like, I guess they made a film, but it's not one I really want to ever experience again. I feel like I would have gotten more out of actually taking a crap than I would watching the crap that's in this movie. I mean, it's like I really don't understand. I mean, there's long drawn out talking in like poetic and ways about digestive disorders and there's interviews like it's a documentary, and it's like it's consistently boring, and which is kind of sad because visually it looks okay, but it's like you're watching people act out artistic stuff. It's like this is the reason I don't like extremely, art house type movies, or like going to theatrical stuff where people do all this artistic crap where they're thinking they're having some underlying meaning, and there's really no meaning to it. I mean, yeah, I just don't. Other than this maybe being an ad for taking Rolaids or something, there's nothing in this film that's really worth anybody's time or effort to watch.
So is that our byline? It doubled down on the shit.
Yeah, I think this would be. I think maybe they did this to where people stomachs will be upset, and they have to go out and get some antacid, because this is the only response you'll get from watching this, at least in my opinion.
This movie will give you gas. All right, Jeff Mohr, sir, what was your first impression of Flux Gourmet?
Pretty much what Christopher said. Well, we were talking beforehand. This is the third Peter Strickland movie I've seen. I saw Barbarian Sound Studio, which I didn't get. Heard a lot of positive things about it, but it wasn't for me. Saw In Fabric not too many years ago and kind of enjoyed that, but didn't get as much out of it as I was hearing from other people raving about it. So this is a similar thing. And if you scroll through the IMDb reviews, there's equal amounts of one's worst movies I ever saw to brilliant, but even the brilliant reviews sound pretentious. So I think this movie just seems that's exactly it. I don't know what the message or the theme or the goal of this movie is, unless it's to poke fun at the artistic community, because it's there's again, where did we talk? What did I talk about this recently? It's like a movie where there's nobody there that I would spend any time with. Within 5 minutes, I'd know, well, I've got better things to do.
I was feeling that the entire night.
So it's, it's interesting in that I'm going, oh God, what are they doing now? That's the kind of interesting it is. But it's I mean, it's colorful, it's good cinematography, etc. And there's kind of a running, I assume it's a joke of a guy with gastrointestinal problems that they finally get to the end. And I suppose I shouldn't spoil the disease he has.
No, don't spoil it. Don't spoil it.
Anyway, I just, yeah. It was a drudge. It was a drudge.
Double down on the drudge. I despise this movie. I felt like I was watching this and I wasn't in on the joke, right? It feels like it's saying something on a topic and about something I know nothing about, so it's totally lost on me. And that is so effing boring, right? I would imagine if you know where this movie's coming from and know what it's trying to say, that there's something to get out of it, but it's lost on me. I like an entirely different set of films. I do not like this kind of film. Yes, I would take what Christopher said and put a side helping of wet farts in it. That's basically what this film is. It is. I wish I had never seen it. I'll put it that way. I wish I had never seen this movie.
What you said? Oh, my brain flashed to Green Eggs and Ham. I do not like this kind of film. I do not like them. I was struggling to stay interested. It just, I'm not into the performance art that it kept going to, and it didn't really bring the gourmet stuff into it in a way that I appreciated.
Well, yeah,
the characters were weird. The situation was weird. The one storyline.
Just when you thought they went out of bounds on something, like really crossed the line, then you'd find out they were faking it.
Yeah.
So it really wasn't that anyway.
Yeah, so I don't know why this is on Shudder. I love Shudder. You guys know I love Shudder. We do a lot of Shudder films. We do a Shudder film just about every week. I don't understand why this one's included. It's beyond me.
Well, I guess to add to their range of films, because this is really way out there, and they have a few artistic films. They had that one about the butthole, or
yes, you
know what I'm talking about, that one,
Butt Boy,
which if I say or Butt Boy, or they do seem to. I love.
See, that
Shudder,
fits my sense of humor.
I do love Shudder, but they do seem to have a fetish for like crap, like shit and stuff like that. And so, I mean, literally. But this film is like, yeah, and I think some of the most pretentious things people create are performance art, and so having a film that's about performance art that doesn't even seem like anything anybody would watch in general. Now, if you took these characters, which feel like, I mean, that's why I compared it to like a Wes Anderson film, because Wes Anderson film has weird characters like this. If you take these characters and you had Wes Anderson make a picture, I would watch that. That would be much more interesting. But this is very boring. I mean, there's and it's even hard to fast forward through it because there's long dialogue sequences in another language in the middle of it, where he's just talking about, oh, I have bad winds. My digestive tract. It's like, shut up. I mean, it's like literally more than half of the movie is him describing his digestive issues.
It is.
And trying to be very poetic about it. And it's just boring. There's nothing even funny, you know? And I mean, there's even a part where you find out they're people dressed as mimes. They're the ones causing problems in this. The
ones that throw the stuff through the window.
Yeah, you see them when the part where they have the gun or whatever. They're dressed as mimes.
That's a different type of performance art, right?
Well, I guess, but it was like, I was like, where is the humor in this? And it's almost like they and there's long parts. I don't even understand what they're talking about. There's these long dialogue sequences where it's talking about stuff. And I guess maybe if you're maybe those 1% that are pretentious or whatever, just like, oh, I get what they're saying. There's so much they're saying. No, it just feels like they just put a bunch of fancy words in pieces of dialogue, acting like they know better than people that are watching it. Yeah. And it's just, there's nothing to it, and it's like, yeah, you said, where's the gourmet? They're putting stuff into blenders and sticking microphones to blenders. It's the stupidest. This is why I hate performance art in general, because it's just stupidity. It's
they talk a lot about sonic catering and
I think the performance
with the digestive tract.
I was going to say, I think the sound that they sound design they do and the performance art is the gourmet. It's not
it's almost like a DJ gourmet, but it's still shitty. It's I'd rather go watch somebody play Cotton Eye Joe than watch this. It's just it's just stupidity. And then they're like, oh, the audience, let's all have an orgy with them after this crappy performance art. And it's like you want it to be about the people, but it's like they keep going back to this performance art. Oh, you're grocery shopping, and you have to, and you roll your eyes, and she's describing what they're doing, and it's like some of the worst improv. As a former improviser, this is the stupidest. I really thoroughly hated parts of this movie. I just this is so stupid. It's like, why is this put on film? This feels like this should be on like that back end alley behind Broadway where they have those off Broadway performance art stuff. Yeah, I mean, this is
you guys know what a flanger is?
I know of the term when it comes to audio, and I'm assuming
and that's what they were talking about.
I know the term because I have to sometimes when I'm dealing with audio with my movie stuff, if I'm having to do the audio design, there's like certain filters where you can do with the flanger and stuff. And the characters are not interesting. I mean, the one guy looks like he walked out of a 80s emo movie. You know, he did. I mean, it just seemed like these. What you talk about pretentious? It's like one-dimensional characters. There's not really nothing to them.
I mean, he seemed bored. Asa Butterfield seemed bored in this movie.
And when
I don't know if that was the character or if he was just literally bored.
That and when she's having to use a Jedi force mind trick using the smell of her private area. I was like, what is going on here? She's like, you will not. She was actually doing a Jedi mind trick using fingers that had certain intimate stuff on it. I'm like, what is. I don't even find that humorous. I was kind of like, what is going on?
Yeah, I definitely, I'm going to reiterate. I definitely feel like there's a joke. There's a joke in here that I'm just not a part of. You know, I'm not a part of the, you know, the performance art, and I'm not, you know, and I just don't know where it's coming from. I don't. So everything it's trying to do is totally lost on me, and the story. When you boil it down to just a story, it's not interesting. It's dull. You know, that there's nothing there. I don't understand what the conflict is. I don't understand what they're trying to solve. I don't understand what these characters are, you know, why they give a shit about anything. You know, even when they have these long interviews where they are spilling their guts, it just doesn't make sense to, you know, what their motivation is. So
him doing his little monologues is like 50%. You have 25% of these people doing interviews, and then the last 25% is their weird performance art stuff or their little dinner parties where they have to do these stupid monologues or whatever.
And the guy that was sent to report about this, he's writing the story on it, right? He got. Isn't that what I heard? It's like, you got to go and do the story on this. He wanted to do something else, so he off to do it, and then he becomes part of the show.
And you have that weird old doctor dude who doesn't even
the weird old doctor
dude
on. The weird old doctor dude, I like. That's the one character I like, just because he was so ornery at the table when they had the discussions. He was giving him shit.
Yes.
It's like, I can get down with you, sir.
He was still pretentious.
Well, yes, but he was. Yeah.
That was the one place where I kind of was like chuckling, because he's given this guy we got the test results back, and the disease that you have is, hey, I wonder if
he's like, I left something at home or whatever.
He's definitely screwing with him.
Doing that on his purpose.
Screwing with him. All right, well, speaking of shit, I think we've done enough of that. Now let's go ahead and wrap this up and give our final thoughts. Our score 1 to 5. Take bets now. And our favorite scene, Christopher G. Mohr, sir, you are up first.
I hope this doesn't start a fart house revolution. I'm just saying that right here. Yeah, this movie is as messy as their blended up concoctions. There's so much weirdly wrong with this film. I almost feel like it's a joke. Like, how? I mean, you have a movie has gourmet in the title, and it's as bland as unseasoned meat. You know, it's like, what is going on here? I don't understand anything that's happening. I don't understand the point of the film. You know, there's even just the weird sex scene between her and Asa Butterfield, where they keep showing eggs being made because he's got a fetish for an egg lady. I mean, it's like this is like a fever dream. I feel like this is like a movie somebody would make on cocaine or an acid trip. Yeah, this is a mess. I'm kind of flabbergasted by it, because like they got money to make this film with big actors, and it's a waste of celluloid or a waste of video, whatever they shot it on. I will say it's shot well, so that'll get it a half point.
Okay, there's a half point.
So I'm gonna give it a 1.5. This is like one of the worst films. It just, to me, it just gets a bad rating just based on just there's no point in this film. It's a waste of talent. It's a waste of food. It's a waste of production design. It's a waste of money. And there's really no point to it, you know. And there's no entertainment value in this. The only thing I get out of this is that I've wasted an hour and 40 something minutes of my life watching this, when I could be I'd rather watch YouTube videos of kittens or I would literally, you know, like you mentioned wet farts earlier. I'd rather have a wet fart than watch this film again.
There you go.
I'd get more out of that than I would get out of this. Yeah, I hate to be so downer, because it takes a village of people to make a film, but I think if I'd been hired to be on this film, I would say I can't work on this, because I would have turned it down, because it's like I don't see the point in this film.
Favorite scene?
There's nothing favorite I like about this. I'll say when the guy gets the doctor in the stranglehold.
Yes, that's it. That's the best thing.
Because that was the only time where I kind of wanted to put a stranglehold on the film, but I kind of like that, or he's just, you know, he's been dealing with all that little crap that he's had to deal with, of being dealing with that stuff, and just that doctor being such a douchebag to him. So that's only, if I could say a favorite part, but that's not saying a lot, because there's nothing in any of this that's a favorite. It's just the least of the worst.
Least of the worst. Well, we can say it. We can call that a favorite scene. Jeff Mohr, sir, your final thoughts, your score, your favorite scene.
Okay, so for me, right, this is
for you, sir. For you,
for
Jeff Mohr.
Me,
who has a reputation of actually liking artsy fartsy movies.
Yeah. Well, I might go 1.5. I was tempted to go higher for not a good reason, so I'm sticking with. This is a 1. I mean, I had a harder time.
Yes.
I had a harder time watching this than almost any movie we've seen this year, I think. And now I'm not going to say that means it's that bad of a movie. It's just not for me. It's kind of like what Doc was saying. This is not for me, and I feel like this is for like some narrow group of insiders who get the joke, you know, of what they're talking about. Apparently Strickland is part of a sonic culinary band or something, you know, that's actually done
could
stuff
it be
like that.
A movement?
Yes. But this was just felt really pretentious to me, and I'm the one who has put what other people call pretentious films in my top 10 films for the year. So for me, this just doesn't work. There are people that are loving it and raving about it. So if you've seen Strickland's other movies, then go for it. It seems to fit right in there. Nobody's saying this isn't Strickland. This is more of the same. So, and I have a favorite scene. You know, normally, you know, we've decided it. Well, never mind. On the classic era, we say poop is funny, you know. So
poop is funny.
It normally
is funny, but in this particular case, I don't know. It just was. Every time there was something that I found interesting, then it turned out to be a fake out, you know. So favorite scene. I'm going to say this guy, what was his name? Stones or Stokes? Stones that always gets, he's like, I have to go outside. He's got to go outside to fart because it's so bad. He doesn't want it to bother people, but it doesn't smell.
Not all the time.
But it's just the noise, you know, so either it's outside or when there's loud noises going on. I sympathize with that.
Yeah, and he goes outside and tries to let one go, and then somebody walks.
And then other people come out.
So that I laughed at that scene. That was funny. So, but that was one time. I felt like I just needed to. I despise this movie. I've never seen a Strickland film before, and all apologies to Mr. Strickland. I will not see another one. I do not like this type of film. I do not like the style of storytelling. To me, it just isn't entertaining. It's boring and a waste of time. I do not like this film. I'm only going to give it a 1 as well. Yeah. My favorite scene, I'm going to go there. I actually could choose from 2. I think I'm going to go with like there's a scene in the table where they eat this dinner table, but they don't eat. They actually just sit around and talk. But there is a big bowl of like red tomato soup or something in the middle, some kind of red thing. And the mimes, Christopher's mimes, come and throw a dead raven through the window or something.
That was a turtle.
Oh, it was a dead turtle. Yes, it was a turtle.
Yes.
And they throw the turtle and it lands in the soup and it sprays all over this one girl, just one. Nobody else really gets splattered, but she is just covered in it and just sits there and listens to the rest of the stuff. And I don't know. Got to pick something. That was my favorite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was splattered all over her face. You know,
It was either that or the colonoscopy,
like blood.
that they were doing. Just because how awkward it was. Oh my Shudder! I hope you don't hear this because you will not like this. But
well, they know, not every film is going to be to people's liking, and there might be a small portion of people that might enjoy it. But the rest of us will just go on Twitter and watch that video of Leslie Nielsen using his fart machine, and that's a million times more entertaining than anything in this film.
All right, so let's go ahead and end the inevitable here. Let's go ahead. That's our review for FLUX GOURMET. If you check it out on Shudder, please leave the comments down below. Let us know what you thought. What did we miss, or did we?
If you really enjoyed it,
yeah, I'd like
let
to
us
know
know
why.
why.
I'd like to know why.
Or if you're in our camp,
I'd like to know that too. We'll definitely be covering more stuff from Shudder. The rest of September and into October is insane.
There's been some great stuff on Shudder.
Yeah, Shudder and IFC Midnight we usually love.
Yep, and this is both of them. So
like what Moloch and there's been a few ones I really love.
Glorious.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. Well, Christopher, Jeff, 2 things. 1, thank you for joining me. 2, thank you for not killing me because I made you watch this movie.
That's okay. This made me feel better as a filmmaker.
Nice. That's what it was aimed for. That's what it's there for. All right. Let's get out of here. Let's say goodnight.
Good night.
Right. Good night, everybody.
Gruesome Magazine.